Malting is the process of taking raw barley and making it into a usable product for brewers. Essentially, they take the raw barley, they soak it, and then they germinate it, and then they kiln it. This process is essentially done to make starches more accessible to us and make enzymatic activity a little easier. I mean, there's differences in modification. Malt can be lowly modified, therefore it needs a lot more care, though most modern malt we see is highly modified, thus making it very easy to access these starches and convert them to sugars. Malt is really brought from around the world. We use malts from many parts of the world. We get malts from the United Kingdom, we get malts from Germany, and we also get malts obviously from here, where we're from. I mean, in some cases, our maltsters know the farmers that they got it from. When designing a malt bill, you mostly first need to consider what style you're interested in. For ease's sake, let's say you just want to build a basic pale ale. Well, largely you're going to think that you're going to use base because you're not going to be interested in imparting a lot of color or specialty flavors into this beer. Mostly you want one malt to show through, and then you want the rest to showcase your hops. However, if you're looking into brewing a really dark beer, I mean, let's say you're going to make a stout, then you're going to be looking at scaling back the amount of what we refer to as fermentable sugars, which is what we get mostly from base malt, and look about imparting more malt that adds to sweetness and color, which is where you get into those specialty and roasted malts. So you'd be looking more like a 75% of base malt, and then upwards to maybe, 10% Munich, and then the rest of it would be, caramel malts, chocolate malts, and some black malt, maybe roasted barley if you want. I mean, those things are all pretty loose, but as you get into those darker styles, you start looking a lot more at using these specialty malts to work the way you want them to work. Experimentation is pretty much the only way to get that. Your darker, sweeter beers have a larger amount of what we call unfermentable sugar. That'll impart to body and sweetness and flavor of the beer. Whereas on the other end, you have your pale ales that are usually a lot more dry and a lot more forward. Those are mostly made up of fermentable sugars. Once you've decided on your style and you've kind of roughly figured out the percentages that you're going to use, you then actually look at the malt itself. And each malt has its own specific usages. For instance, our base malt is about 81% efficient. So when I go to build a malt bill, I figure how much grain do I need in order to achieve this. So first I find the pounds of extract necessary per gallon. I figure that per barrel. And then in my process I figure out how much extract I would need, and I take that versus the 81% that my grain will actually give off. And at the end of that, I can see the total poundage that's actually required. Specialty malt is really anything but base malt. I mean, roast malts kind of have their own category, but realistically they're the same. And we have a wide variance from everything to a light caramel malt, to an amber malt, to a brown malt, an aromatic. And really regionally, we see a lot of different things. I mean, the Belgians enjoy like a special B in their aromatics, and you'll also find aromatics in the UK that impart something entirely different. But really what it breaks down to is per style, you'll pick your proper specialty malts to make it that style. So, whether it be a certain caramel malt that gives you the toffee flavor in Stone's Throw, or the other caramel malt that makes Mighty Red red, right down to roasted barley that's just imparting color strictly. They all have a wide variance of uses.